Happy Monday. Welcome to the Pro Singer Success Collective. We are live today. And what I'm going to be talking about today is all about artistic identity and style. And I can't tell you how many times I have spoken to singers who say to me, Arden, I feel like I'm a parrot. Like I'm really good at imitating this specific singer, this specific famous artist. I can make myself sound like a lot of those people, but I don't really know what my sound is, what my lane is, what my special sauce is, for lack of a better way of putting it. And it's hard, especially if you've gotten really good at mimicking, imitating the artists that you love. And one of the things that I always tell the singers who work in our intensive training program is the music that you love to listen to is not always the music that is right for your voice to sing. Like the music that you love is not always the music that loves your voice. And it's true. I mean, like I'm a great example of that. Like I love listening to pop. I love listening to R&B, and I can sing that. This is not to say that like you can't sing different genres. You can, but the music that really loves my voice, that is like just fits like a glove. It's like square peg in a square hole, you know? For me, it's classical music. It's opera. That's just like the thing that is the most easy and aligned and intuitive for me to sing. I don't have to try to make myself sound a certain way or have a certain timbre or have a certain stylistic flow. Like it's just what comes the most naturally to me. Now, that doesn't mean, like I said, that I can't sing pop music. I've made a good deal of money singing pop music. I've sung on a lot of soundtracks. My voice has been in commercials. Some of you know my voice is in a singing Barbie doll. Well, it was. I don't think that the doll is still out there anymore, but it was like 15, 20 years ago. And that was all singing pop music. And so it's not to say that you can't sing different genres and be successful doing it, but the thing that I was always the most successful at, and the genre that just was so easy for me to slip into, was always classical music. And so how did I figure this out? You know, I think that's the question that a lot of singers always ask me, which is how do you know what your lane is, what your specific artistic genre and style that's best for you is? And I'm going to tell you the answer that maybe feels kind of like duh, but that is, you know, the important thing to know here, which is you got to sing a lot of different kinds of music. You got to try a lot of different kinds of genres and you got to experiment. But here's what I want you to know about that, which is if you don't have a handle on how to tap into the maximum potential of your instrument, meaning if you don't have a technique that you can rely on so that you know how to make a consistent sound through your whole range, top to bottom, then you're going to have a harder time finding your lane, finding your artistic identity, finding your unique sound. Because how can you find your unique sound? How can you find your unique artistic identity if you have a lot of gaps in your technique that are stopping you from even knowing and being able to tap into what that is? And so it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle for singers who don't have that kind of consistency and reliability, that they know how to tap into their potential of their range and do that consistently. And so then they start to feel insecure, and then they pigeonhole themselves in like one specific genre, which may not be right for them, but they don't know that because they don't really know what the potential of their instrument is, because they don't have the tools and the foundation in their technique to be able to do that. And so then they start to think, oh, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this is just not meant for me. And then they don't go out and get that information. And then they just stay stuck in this unsuccessful loop in a genre with an artistic identity and a sound that really isn't suiting them. And they think it's because they're not good enough, when really they just don't have a foundation yet to really know what their instrument can do. But you can't know that unless you're working tools that allow you to understand what that is, right? And so for those of you who do many genres and feel like you might feel a little schizophrenic in your artistic identity. I mean, how many people, tell me in the chat if you're watching this, how many people feel like, well, I can do so many different kinds of music. I can sing classical, I can sing Broadway, I can sing pop, I can sing country. Like I sing jazz, standards. Like there's a lot of things I can do. Like, how do I know, can I do them all? Do I have to pick one, right? And I think it really depends on how you're doing this. Meaning, are you doing this as a career? Are you doing this as a high level avocation? Are you doing this more as a hobby, right? Because if you're doing this as a hobby, you can sing anything, you can sing everything, you sing whatever the heck you want. If you're doing this as a professional career, there will come a time where you can sing whatever you want professionally once you are super successful. Meaning, like most of you know, Lady Gaga, right? Known as a pop artist, but about 10, 15 years ago, she made a jazz standards record with Tony Bennett. Now, if she was just starting out in her career, nobody knew who she was. And here she has like all these pop electronic albums, and then she's got a jazz standard album. It's so hard to build a fan base just in general that when you are building a career and you are building a fan base, those of you who maybe watched Michael Walker's masterclass last week around building a fan base that I recommended to you guys, it's really hard to do that if you're kind of splitting your time, your money, and your energy in different places with building fans who like different kinds of music. So it's not to say that you can't do that, but it's harder to do that because you want to be known for one thing and you want to put all your energy and your money and your time behind like growing that thing, okay? But what we're talking about here is the thing behind the thing, which is really, well, how do I know if what I'm doing really is the most aligned, right? And so, I mean, that's something that we work a lot with in singers in our intensive training program, which is like once they have that foundation and reliability in their instrument, and they know how to tap into the potential of their instrument, then it's like, let's play, let's experiment, let's play. Like, let's do the kind of music that you're used to doing, but let's also experiment. Let's do whatever, country, let's do some Broadway, let's do some classical. I have a singer who's a singer-songwriter right now in the intensive program, and she brought in some classical music because I suggested, let's play with that. Not because I think she needs to be a classical singer necessarily, but because there are aspects of her artistry that she's learning how to explore and tap into so she can bring it to whatever she does. So, it's always important to understand what kind of music just fits your voice like a glove. And the only way to do that is by doing two things. Number one, do whatever you need to do to work with an expert to make sure that you understand the foundation for your technique so that you can tap into the maximum potential of your instrument. And then number two, experiment in your own time. Put on YouTube and put on a whole bunch of karaoke stuff and do karaoke to Defying Gravity. Do karaoke to Carrie Underwood. Really be willing to explore, experiment, and play. That's the only way that you get data. I have a singer who I worked with a long time ago. It was like almost 10 years ago now. And he came in and he was like Mr. like hard rock. And that was like his thing. That's what he loved. That's what he was writing. He was also a guitar player. That's what he was doing. And he wasn't getting anywhere with it. And so he came in, he worked our intensive training program. He did, he did the whole thing. And as we were working together about halfway through, and as he really got in touch with his instrument, he discovered this like rich, like twangy country sound. Like we're talking like Garth Brooks, Chris Stapleton. I mean, they sound different than each other, but like that twangy, like rich country dude sound. And it's not something he had ever been open to exploring before because he was like Mr. Rock guy, you know what I mean? But he'd been doing that for a while professionally and not very successfully. And so as we explored and he got more in touch with this sound, that it was just so like he had to work really hard to sing those rock songs, and he wasn't making the kind of impact because it just wasn't the thing that his voice was built to do. But as he was open to experimenting, and you guys, this takes a lot of mindset work, by the way. like a ton of mindset to like take the blinders off and be open and willing to sounds that you were not used to making before, and types of songs and music that in his case, Jeff was not at all open to before, because he was like hard rock dude, and as he started to play with this, it was like, oh my God, like every single song that he started to work on, that he was producing and recording, was like so on point, that as he started to send his stuff out to work with high level producers and record labels, now everybody is responding. Everybody was responding, because it was like round peg in round hole. He wasn't trying to force himself into a sound that wasn't his, just because it was the music that he liked to listen to. And he didn't dislike country. It just wasn't like on his radar at all. So, there's identity that comes into this too. And that's a ton of mindset work also. So in order to connect with your unique artistic identity, it's also like being open to the sound that is the most intuitive to you, and then allowing your sound, your essence, to be the thing that then drives the boat. Meaning, don't just say, oh, this sound is what's in right now. The Sabrina Carpenter and the Olivia Rodrigo and the Ariana Grande, and like that's like really in right now. So that's what I need to sound like in order to be successful. That's what most singers do. That's how I need to sound. Those are the types of songs I need to do, because that's what's successful right now. So that's what I need to do to be successful. And then what you guys end up doing is twisting yourselves up into pretzels to make yourself sound like, look like, be like the thing that is the in thing that is successful right now, but it's not you. And so you will never be successful doing that. I don't care how many pretzels you twist yourself into. The world has a Sabrina Carpenter. The world has an Ariana Grande. What they do not have is you. So your work becomes doing the internal work and going beyond the fear and beyond the discomfort to let yourself be seen and heard as you are, as your sound, not as anybody else's. You guys remember Amy Winehouse, right? Like, dude, do you think that anybody was doing throwback 1960s stuff when she became successful? She became successful because that was the music that fit her voice. If she tried to sing like the other singers who were like topping the charts at that point, which was Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, like that's not Amy Winehouse. She became successful when she started to do the thing that was her, right? So it takes bravery. It takes courage. And that's mindset, So this is not just understanding the foundation of your technique and your instrument and working with the best experts to do that, but it's also the mindset of being brave enough to stand in your sound, in your true sound, whatever that may be. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today, in terms of connecting with your unique artistry, your unique sound. And if you would like some support from us to do that, if the experts that you want to work with is me and my team, then I will put in the chat after we're done the link to book a call with us, to get on my calendar, to talk about what's been holding you back. What is going on in your technique that you're not finding your sound, that you're not able to tap into that potential? What has been going on in your journey? What are the gaps? Why are you not doing the high level successful things that would get you where you want to go? What's been stopping you? And if it's, a fit for us to work together in our intensive training program to solve those things, then I'll share with you what that is and how that works. And if it's not, that's okay too. But just to be clear, this call is not for singers who are just starting out. Like if you've never studied before, if you're not out there auditioning, recording, practicing, performing, then this call is not for you. This is for singers who are serious about doing this, being in the game and going as far as you possibly can with it, so that you get to bring your gifts to the world in a really meaningful way and support yourself and make a life and a career out of those gifts. If you're somebody who's just starting out, then go get some training. Start putting yourself out there. Start to work with somebody who works with beginners. And when I say beginners, I don't mean singers who have because there are a lot of singers we do work with who are professionals, just haven't had a lot of expert training. So if you're out there and you're performing, auditioning, recording, but you haven't had a lot of expert training, you're not a beginner in your singing journey. But if you are a beginner in your singing journey, it means that not only have you not had a lot of training, but also you're still kind of on the bench. You don't have the data yet of what happens when you record, when you perform, when so get out there and start getting data, right? And if you get that data and you recognize it's not going the way you want, get training. And if you get some good training, like for most of you, like you'll feel so much more confident. But if you've had a ton of training and you are not seeing the results of all that training in the form of the reliable voice, of the unique sound, of the results that you want to see in your career, then absolutely get on my call calendar and let's talk and let's see if it's a fit. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to hop off and put those links in the chat for everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.